Everybody, thank you all very much for coming back to the Pigsty tonight. Tonight we have the pleasure of having Divine Disbelief, or Susan and Nathaniel. We also have our usual lovely host here to help me out, is Mama. Nathaniel and Susan have their own wee channel, Divine Disbelief. The links are in the description. If you want to just introduce yourself to the people who don't know who you are and just let them know.
So I'm Susan, obviously. I am the one half, not better at anything half, of Divine Disbelief. We started our channel a little over a year ago. We decided we wanted to do stuff with like secular news and opinion, and we fairly recently, we took a little bit of a hiatus, but then we started doing stuff like book recommendations and rants, and we did some deep dives on different subjects every week. Nathaniel's been doing a really, really great one. I got to do last week's, but Nathaniel's been doing a great one about the Jesus welcomes you to Hawkins sign, which is
Hawkins,
really,
Texas.
really, yeah, in Texas, of course. Of course. We've done ones on like conversion therapy and mythicism and historicity of Jesus, and just all sorts of stuff. We've kind of found our niche in the multi-stage format show. So it's a lot of fun.
Yep, and we have a premiere video coming out. We're hoping to get it out this week. It's a response video, so it's going to be the first video that we have that's not a live stream. Mm-hmm. And so we're making that and learning. We have done pretty much everything on our channel by producing our own stuff and making our own graphics and all that stuff. I type stuff and I read academic journals. That's what I do.
He's the brains.
That's the easy part of this, and that's what we're doing there, and we're gonna kind of see how that goes. And we have a new vision for our channel. Mm-hmm. It's not a new one, but it simply is an evolution of a channel. I think that's is always being open to that. But we've really had a great time, and the Jesus welcomes you to Hawkins thing is it's hilarious.
It's amazing.
I am like making the deep dive on that is probably because this video we're making, this premiere, the response video, is fun, but making the video and including the information, adding like little pictures and stuff like that I have not had this much fun in a long time. So,
well, you see, that's the whole idea, is to keep it fun. Like, obviously, well, I was going to say, obviously, there's few people in the community, like Mama and stuff, that have degrees, and they use their channel to put that information forward. I'm just a grease monkey, but you obviously have a background, and I've seen them halfway through your mythicist video, Nathaniel, and you have background and you have studies in this. So, what is your background?
My background is in old world prehistory. So, everything about Jesus. No, it's the history of hominids, the history of humans, having to do with molecular biology, basically, except for just, apes. And that's my background. But have been having a conversation recently looking at some possible paths to a PhD in some form of New Testament studies. Mm-hmm. That's really that's where I've kind of put my focus over the course of the past year or so.
Yeah, what I've been seeing of you recently on that has all been on that topic. I've seen bits and bobs about that, but you really do kick ass when you come out about the Jesus stuff. Like, you have a lot of information, a lot of stuff behind. No, Susan, that's my man. He knows his stuff. Yeah.
She keeps me going on that. And when we're talking about the video and stuff, because in response videos, really, I think that what we've seen is sometimes people just respond to like one particular thing and they hammer something home in their own personal position, and there's not a lot of academic stuff that goes into it, and for a lot of videos. Mm-hmm. And so with ours, really the big thing was we're going to make, even though it's going to be our first one, that we are making it so that it has all the detail necessary with the
There
You
you
get
go.
background.
No, sorry, fine. Sorted.
With a lot of academic citation, and at the same time making it, again, easy to understand. And every time that I find something new, I get really excited about it. And I'm always like, Susan, I'll come back from the bathroom. Check out
Guess
what
I
I found.
found while I was pooping.
And she's always so excited to listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if she actually is,
I am.
but she is. I'll tell you what, she catches on faster than she lets on. She can and does. And I'm like, she says stuff in conversation now that I don't know where you got it.
Well, we were having
it ain't for me.
We went up to Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier State Park.
Seen that,
on
yeah.
Saturday, or National Park. I'm sorry, National Park.
It was a cracking good day you had there. Beautiful day. It turned out well.
Gorgeous, yeah. And while we are driving, like he was driving, and I was just sort of hanging out in the passenger seat. While we're driving, he's getting into a lot of the stuff about like blue consensus and like birth of Jesus and things of that nature that have to do with stuff in the Gospels and stuff that we're thinking about doing and everything. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm actually following some of this conversation. I'm so proud of myself right now.
Yeah.
She follows a lot more than, and obviously the things that I talk about are rather in depth, and and they require almost a study of historiography.
Yes.
And
it's not like how's the weather.
Yeah, no, it's very much. Brain bug for sure. We could talk about phylogeny all day. But it's so when Susan starts saying, okay, so that's this and that's this, what I know is that she's only ever heard that from me. And that means not only can she pick up on it very easily, which she can, but that also means that I am communicating it well.
Yeah, he's really, really great about being able to break things down in such a way.
She's just being nice, Nathaniel. It's the fact you just never shut up about it.
True. That's also a fair statement.
Well, I mean, no, entirely no. No, I'm just kidding. He is really able to, and it's not just with this stuff necessarily with the historicity of Jesus. It's about pretty much everything, like scientific stuff and stuff having to do with dinosaurs and everything.
Oh man,
he's really able to. Oh yes, I have a little Aguhiceratops tattoo, which you can only sort of see. It's two little Aguhiceratops buddies. The Aguhiceratops was discovered at Big Bend, which is where I broke my ankle last year. He's always able to break stuff down in such a way that is really easy to understand, but and some of them are such complex topics that I'm like, how do I understand this? And I'm like, oh wait, it's him.
Well, no, it's because she's able to understand quite a bit of stuff.
So, in terms of coming into this community, was there anybody that influenced you? Anybody that you look up to or looked up to?
You knew a lot more about this than I did.
Yeah.
We went to Faithless Forum last year because it was in Dallas and we were living in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people I didn't really know. Like some of them I was all like, oh, okay, like I've watched a couple of your videos, but I wasn't terribly familiar with them. Like I knew who Cirrus was. Yeah. I knew like there were some other people and stuff. I don't even remember who all was there. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah. We've been fortunate to have great relationships and to call some amazing people our friends. Obviously Cirrus is a great guy and a great friend. Is Ocean. Ocean and I think talk every day.
Yeah.
And we constantly are saying, when are we going to do like another stream? Because it's always fun. Because him being a pagan, people automatically think that he's an atheist, and it's hilarious.
He's like, no.
And Paul Enns is an amazing friend, and somebody to bounce ideas off of. So I've been able to do that, and kind of coming into this side of things. For me, it was not just looking up to some of those great people and kind of seeing some of the great content they make, because they still do.
Oh yeah.
Ocean had video yesterday, and I think Paul had one 2 days ago maybe.
Yeah.
And but also seeing where there's a bit of a niche for us to come in and do something that a lot of other channels aren't doing, that's a little bit more unique and still provides that service that is still entertaining. And we're still learning that as we kind of go along, how we should kind of structure everything and how we should go forward with stuff.
No matter what anybody has out there, someone else can always put their other touch to it. The internet is big enough for everybody, and the fact with you two as well, you have a fantastic camaraderie. You have a good relationship. You get on well with each other. She does all the work, he says. See, that's it. Yeah. He knows to step back and let the woman take place. That's why it works. I haven't learned that yet.
It's a good idea.
Still getting there.
Getting there. But no, in the same situation, I'm very lucky to have Mama behind me. Like you were mentioning earlier about the excitement that, us men can be very silly about things. I've been moving my desk around to try and find the exact spot where it's good. And yesterday I just got it right. And I can lean back in the seat and I'm comfy and I'm so excited. And she was just happy to have it. She said, it's silly and adorable, but it is these things like.
I love it. Yay. Yeah, we tend to bring out the best in each other.
Yeah.
He definitely, the fact that he's very, very smart and very, very funny and very, very handsome, definitely.
Well, he's bald and bearded, so yeah, that's
beard right here.
She's trying to get
I've
later.
got my bald bearded man too, so you can't tell, but there's beard somewhere in there.
If you could get one, Shay.
It's an aesthetic. I dig it. But yeah, I'm very much like I've been, in terms of not just content creator stuff. I've been in like an activist. Dealing with atheism and reproductive justice stuff for a while, like probably last 10 years almost. The first time, maybe close to 8. The
still
first time
an awful lot of time though.
It's like there's so much stuff that to do in so many different fields. But the first time I really got seriously involved with stuff was about 2012. And it went from, this is something that I really, really love to, this is something else that I really, really love. So, I've always felt you don't necessarily have to focus on one thing. You can, have so many different areas that because if you like something and you dig it, like you're totally into it, there's no reason to be all like, well, I'm already into this thing. Like,
You reach out like a spider web. Try and, reach out and grab a wee bit of information from everything. Because if you do specialize in one field or even just stick to one particular topic, you will get lost when you're brought out of it. It's better to have that foundation, at least, of everything. We can all specialize in things. You want me to fix your car and work on your engine? I can do that, But you want him to talk about the historicity of Jesus or Mama to talk about climate change? Everybody has their own specialities, but as you say, it's nice to know and not limit yourself down to just one thing.
Yeah. So
you spoke about reproductive rights, and obviously we have a real issue with that in our country right now. How have you changed your tactics since the current administration?
I've found that, so I was on In Time. I was on their channel a few weeks ago, talking about why Planned Parenthood is something that is so necessary, especially in times like these. There has been such an attack. I actually worked for Planned Parenthood of Greater Texas for a little over a year, from late 2017 to early 2019. Working in accounting, we saw a lot of stuff having to do with, grants and funding and a lot of stuff that we had to make up the difference that we weren't getting from the funding. Because, you know, the Trump administration put the kibosh on like a lot of different things, like some safe sex stuff and things having to do with family planning. And it's so frustrating having to basically just, you know, fight for things that we feel are things that should just be a given.
Yeah.
Like for bodily autonomy and you know, for comprehensive sex ed, which we've talked a lot about, not just a little bit on our channel, not much.
Yeah.
But you know, we've dealt with a lot of that, especially when we were in Texas. You know, availability of health services, and I think people have this misconception of what family planning clinics do. Not just Planned Parenthood, it's really a lot Planned Parenthood, but not, you know, not just them.
Planned Parenthood isn't it like only 6% to some small, like that's
it's 3%. It's 3%.
Okay, 3%.
3% of their services are abortion services. And any government funding that they receive cannot be used for that. So I'm very much like, you know, do the fundraising stuff, do the advocacy stuff, and tell people about, you know, basically preaching the gospel and the good news of Planned Parenthood and reproductive justice and stuff like that. I've been a little bit involved with the political stuff, so I can't really talk too much about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, in terms of the advocacy and everything like that, that is what I'm just all like, yes, I will fight until the death for this stuff.
Oh, coming from Northern Ireland, only within the last year is it legal now to have abortions over here. You know, and it was legal in England, so the way it basically broke down to over here is the rich could have abortions. You know, if you could afford the flight and you could get over to England, you're landed. And I know a person who went to the actual protest with his wee sign and out the front. You know, he was an old earth creationist, and yeah, he came in and started debates, and we had one at work where to the point where I had to go and apologize to customers because we were fucking screaming at each other. But it does get to that point because, like, they have their fundamentalist views, they have their Bible bashing, as we said over here, and it is a political thing that's happened from their actual belief system. You know, there's no real scientific reason or any political reason or any, social reason why women can't have that right. It just boils down to the fact that the Bible says it's wrong.
Well, and even then, there's like Numbers 5. In all technicality, I don't know the exact verses, but I know it's Numbers chapter 5 actually gives the instructions on, you know, if there is
if your wife cheats on you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or even if you think she cheats on you, you can get permission from the priest to give her this stuff that'll induce an abortion. And it's like, what?
I mean, technically, in the Bible, murder is wrong, but I don't think there's anywhere specific that it says abortion is wrong. And like you said, there's, you know, instructions for forced miscarriage, which is an abortion. So
yeah.
And
miscarriage, actually, as a medical term, if they're not calling it miscarriage, they're calling it spontaneous abortion, because that's same thing.
See, the thing about that is the reason that that's in the Bible and allowed is because your husband is in control there. Your husband, your man, the hierarchy in charge is the person who's worried. You know, and they want to go and they want to check, and it's like, here, I want a clean wife and this, that, and the other. It's because of the man in charge.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what so much of it has to do with, is because women were such, you know, considered property in every sense of the word. You know, they weren't, how much have you talked about what we're doing the video on before?
0%.
0%. Okay. Well, then I'm not going to mention that, 'cause that's stuff having to do with the video that we're doing. You know, just in general, so much stuff was based on, you know, men and the fact that women were property, and the fact that basically children are property too, until they reach a
12.
Certain age. Yeah. Until they reach a certain age.
You're a young girl. Yeah. 12.
Yeah.
Like, we had a Christian on the channel there on Sunday, and a good friend of mine, you know, I go out and hang out in their channel and stuff like that there, but the way they were putting it across is they used the word subservient, you know, in reference to God and things like that. And as I said to them, I was like, no, if anything, you know, your partner is your equal, and usually the woman keeps you in fucking line. You know, I've seen studies that show where women in their late 20s, early 30s, and whenever men settle down, their health improves. Their diet improves, they get better, you know, their mental health improves as well. And for a woman on that same age, when she settles down, it actually gets worse. Obviously, she's looking after the man, you know. It's better for her to stay single later in life than it would be to settle down for stress-wise and health-wise, though. But
sounds familiar.
I think I've heard this before.
Yeah. Well, the Bible is very explicit that a fetus is not a person.
Yeah.
Exodus chapter 21 is very specific regarding that. So, and then of course, getting into Numbers. Numbers chapter 5 is a horrendous fucking chapter.
It is not just the how to induce an abortion stuff, but just in general.
Yeah, it's altogether manipulation of a woman, and inability for a woman to say no to these things is phenomenal. There is no autonomy there, and there's no autonomy anywhere for women in the entire Bible.
No.
Paul kind of talks about it whenever he's okay with women being deacons in the church and stuff like that. And that's, the whole women sit down and shut up thing is not something Paul wrote. So there you go. But yeah, there is no personhood for a fetus in the Bible.
Yeah.
And obviously they wouldn't know. They didn't have science. Come on, they didn't know where the snow came from. So that's the book of Job, by the way, if you don't know that. They don't know where snow, rain, or clouds come from. So
seems about right.
Wouldn't expect them to know what did somebody say on I saw it on Discord. They wouldn't exactly understand what it means to yeetus a fetus. Which apparently is a party we throw. We throw yeetus fetus parties. Apparently, because as Tippy in the comments will tell you, we're baby killers.
Yeah, well, that's atheists get that. The baby barbecue, make your own sauce and all that. Lovely. Well, to bring it back over to your background, what made you get into the phylogeny and stuff, Nathaniel? You know, the actual, was it something that you fell into, or did you always have a love for that?
Well, as with most fossils, you can fall into them or trip over them. When I was raised in Northeast Nebraska, and for those of you that don't know where it is, there's a good reason for that. It's very flat, and there's more cows than people. Yep, that's all true. There's more people in Dallas, not even Dallas-Fort Worth, but Dallas than there are in the state of Nebraska. So
the tiny, well, that's nice and peaceful.
Yeah, it's not a small state either, but where I was raised, like 7 miles northeast of where I was raised, is a place called Ashfall Fossil Beds, and it is a place where in the Pleistocene epoch, there was a volcano that exploded, much like what you would find in Crater Lake down in southern Oregon, or what Yosemite is now. And this has been between 12 and 13 million years ago. And the ash that came out of that moved across the country into what is now Nebraska, onto these three-toed horses, these ancestors of modern day rhinos, and these other things. And they were at a pond in northeast Nebraska, what is now northeast Nebraska. And so they did what whatever the animals would do whenever there's ash falling on them and it's everything's messing up. They went to the water, and that was their demise. Actually, they breathed in all this ash, which in 6 days is the 40th anniversary of St. Helens.
Yes,
so
it is.
some of those videos are crazy to watch.
Yeah.
And basically, if you breathe that stuff in, it's glass that you're breathing in. It's not like it's not smoke. It's actual glass and sulfur.
Yes.
And everything in there is really poisonous. And by the way, it's impossible to stop. There is no way to do that. But these animals, they breathed all this stuff in while they were in the water, trying to to clear out their system and everything. And well, the short story is they died there.
So but it's all sort of like collapsed.
Yeah, the smaller animals died first. So your turtles and like birds and stuff like that, and then there's some other things like the horses, some camels, and then these huge rhinos. Some of them pregnant, we know that, but they breathed in for weeks at a time for some of them this stuff, and it actually caused bone regeneration. It's I forget the disease, but it's Marie's disease, I think is. And it caused regeneration in their bones, so their skeleton was growing inside of their bodies. So the last couple of weeks of their lives was, I don't know anything more excruciating than that.
Yeah, pain from the inside for everything. That would not be nice.
No, yeah. And we found that by happenstance in the 20th century, and we went out there multiple times when I was in elementary school, so all the way from kindergarten up to the 6th and 7th grade, and really, really, really got a huge mental erection for it.
Yeah, you were bitten. You were bitten hard.
Yeah, and of course it helped that Jurassic Park came out when I was old enough to understand it. Which is one of like the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, I'm 38 or 37 this year, so if that worked. But yeah, I was the same, man. And T-Rex and stuff like that growing up was amazing.
Yeah.
So is he actually? He's 37 this year.
I am not 37.
You're about to be.
I'm about to be as well. 2 months.
He's got like one.
Yeah, and so from that it progressed on. I always had a love for, still do actually, a love for the history of animals, and then for the process that has really kind of moved everything to where we are right now, and then beyond what we have right now as well. And then understanding the molecular processes and finding them is the thing that happens. Nothing happens. Everything happens more than finding fossils.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the most exciting part. Everything else is really boring science stuff. But so when we have the opportunity to locate something, I was fortunate enough to be still working in this field when Homo naledi was discovered back in South Africa, and that's an amazing discovery, and so. Having the opportunity to be a part of things like that, as well as being able to educate folks on it, has been for me, I think, really for me saying I don't ever want to become a teacher. I like teaching people. Yeah. So that's where that comes from.
There's a tiny wee channel, and it's called Dinosaurs Are Awesome. I don't know if you've ever heard it before. And he actually one time had a fossil on, and he was cleaning it and preparing it while I was on my lunch at work, and someone came in and was like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "We're looking at a fossil that nobody's looked at for like 12 million years. Do you want to sit down? Come on." Nobody had seen this for such a long period of time, and that sensation, I can totally get that. Even just having that through the camera, you being able to actually be there, it's
Yep, I've done that before.
When I was in high school, I used to work for a science center in Des Moines over the summer, and we taught, science. We taught there was different science camps to littler kids, and we would go out and dig for fossils. There's quite a wealth of fossils that you can find in both the Pacific Northwest and the Midwest, as I'm sure you all know. My biggest find was a piece of a trilobite. What was your biggest find?
Got a rhino, a juvenile rhino, and also that's the most exciting ones, though, because finding a rhino where other rhinos have died is like, oh look, I did this. There's by the way, if anybody that watches this doesn't know about ashfall, look it up. It is It is.
Fascinating.
Yep. That by itself, young Earth creation isn't wrong by itself. It's also wrong for every other reason.
Yeah.
But we were in Big Bend last year, which is a desert. If anybody doesn't know that, it's in the Chihuahuan Desert on the border of Mexico. I have stood in the Rio Grande. Don't care.
Rio Grande.
Thank you.
I'm from
See,
Texas.
there you go.
It's like they say Guadalupe when you're in Austin, referring to the street instead of Guadalupe.
Yeah, and discovered in the desert there multiple exogyra type oysters from the Cretaceous in the middle of the desert. And oysters, as you're probably aware, not fans of the desert.
No.
And so as we continue to find more and more of those, and I've got some mammalian teeth from down that area as well. And but finding those has been the most exciting for me, because it continues to show provide further verification for the things regarding the history of that area, the inland sea and the Cretaceous, where these things actually lived.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the most exciting. Like the biggest was a juvenile rhino. They're enormous.
Like evolution very much excites me, especially in this last maybe year or so. I recently did the entire back catalogue of PBS eons, which is annoying as fuck because now I have to wait every 2 weeks for a video to come out. It's like, no. Used to be able to sit for hours and watch it, but you know, that channel alone, as you said, just one of these wee things with the 3-toed horses. And was it a ginger rhino that you found? Wasn't it there wasn't a ginger rhinos, I think, around as well?
I don't remember.
No, I seen a thing on PBS eons because there was at one stage ginger rhinos.
Yes, that is correct.
I learned something new today.
Yeah.
The young lady that is on there, she has the shoulder tattoo kind of like Susan does.
Yeah.
She did her a lot of her work at the University of Nebraska, which is pretty awesome. And she was up at Asphalt for a little while. So that's it's pretty great to see that happen as well, and then to see people where we both went to school at the same places and stuff like that. So
I know that you have recently moved away from that, or you've recently moved, haven't you? What brought you to move? Was it more of a job, or was it anything that made you move?
Well,
here.
Sure.
It's like he's moved way more than I have.
Well, we knew that we weren't going to stay in Dallas-Fort Worth. That was the first thing where we both, there were a lot of things that we were talking about as we first kind of started getting into, even like the possibility of a relationship. And so this has been a while ago, and both of us were, no, we're not staying here.
No.
And so what we kind of put a time frame on it. But when it's 12 to 18 months type stuff.
Yeah.
And really had a number of places kind of picked out. Austin was one of them, and I definitely good reasoning there. And Lincoln, Nebraska was one of them. Portland. So we figured out Finland, probably not right now. That was pretty quick. And then
Finland
Lincoln
doesn't exist, though.
is a wonderful town. Yeah, from what I understand.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a wee bit of a lag. He's got choppy there.
I've heard that story from Eli Bosnick.
And only found that out the other day whenever we were talking and we were watching a PragerU video, and they mentioned, and we said something about Finland, and she was shocked that a high percentage of Americans do not believe that Finland exists.
Yeah.
There's no fins there.
There's
Everything's on land. Nothing has a fin.
There's an episode of this podcast called Citation Needed that they do an episode about people who don't believe in Finland, and I'm just like, this is the best. Oh my god.
Yeah, but we decided that one was off the table. And Nebraska, far too cold for her in the winter. And also no trees, so very, very windy all for a good bit of the time. And it really came down to Austin and Portland. I had visited Portland 3 years ago, early in the year. After the 2016 election, I had to go and remove myself from society for a little while. And it's easy to do up here now.
Yeah.
And
especially right now.
Yeah. And Susan really was she made the final decision. And I remember that text.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I think I would like Portland the most. Yeah. I think because it's basically like I lived in Austin for a little while and I loved living in Austin. And basically Portland is Austin, but without the heat.
Yeah, and the people.
Yeah, there's no near as many people in Portland as there are in Austin.
Yeah.
The timeline got moved up quite a bit.
Yeah, there was a job opening for me earlier I saw it in February.
Yeah.
And it was like, when is this going to happen? Actually, the first time I told Susan about it, she was like, no, we can't. We don't have it available, whatever. It's not in the cards right now. And
the only time I've been a Debbie Downer in this situation.
And next time my job is going to become available like this, and that type of thing. And then it's like, okay, well, let's try. And then it was just, within the course of like 2-3 weeks, I was up here.
Yeah.
I was up here, and then she joined a couple of weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
And sure, well, technically it matches us.
Yeah.
For the Portland does. There are some other people here that are not our favorite, but it's going to be, whenever things become this like new normal type of thing, it's going to be a challenge for us because of how much activism we've done.
Mm-hmm.
Portland,
not quite as much to do.
No, yeah. Portland is the least religious city in the United States. And so, and so we didn't actually know that before coming here.
Well, that's a good coincidence. It worked out well. You can wear that T-shirt down the street without getting shouted at.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think guy in Texas is like, why are you wearing that? And I'm like, it's a
Amanda told a story the other day that she had moved to Georgia. Do you want to tell that, Amanda? Whenever you first moved down there, about starting your atheist group?
Oh, yeah. It's like, can we balance it off and I can give you some of our religiosity? Because when my son and I moved to Georgia about 3 years ago to take care of my elderly parents. And, this was before I knew that, there was a YouTube, whatever, atheist community. And I was looking for a community myself and to be able to connect with other atheists and do some activism as well, because this was shortly after Trump was elected. And so I had started this group, and we met, we kind of pulled it together on this social gathering site online, which must have been how they found us, because we met in this coffee shop in town. We were in this one room, it was like a conference room and a table, and these people were just like standing outside, just looming outside the door, literally standing, like looking in, or like, okay, that's weird. Sorry with the dogs. Listening to the conversation. And, go for it.
The dog is also called Leah, in case anyone didn't notice the Millennium Falcon behind Divine Disbelief.
It's true. Oh yeah, we are in here.
Yes.
So so we were. They had found us. They kind of stalked us on the site and had been, following us from group to group, because there was, I think we met 2 or 3 times, and the third time somebody had actually followed me home from that group. So that was really scary. And I was like, I can't do the in-person atheist thing here. So that's how I ended up finding the online community. Sorry about that.
That's just like, I really wonder why people feel a need to do such intimidation whenever they find out that someone's an atheist. Like, what is the point? What are you hoping to achieve? It's not going to convert me because I see that you're not a good person. Yeah. Like, I see that you would rather, like, threaten me and intimidate me than try and convert me.
Yeah. I think there's this sense of, you know, get the hell out of my town kind of deal here in the South. Like, you know, any sort of left-wing activism whatsoever. And it's like, we don't want the likes of you here, you know? So, you know, I imagine them like on their front porch in some rocking chair, like holding their shotgun, like, hey, run those fucking lefties out of town, you know? That's kind of what it feels like. So, yeah. That's how I ended up, you know, with the online community, because couldn't do it, you know, couldn't risk it otherwise. It was frightening.
Oh yeah.
It's
people got some of that happening. I had some of that threatening me. You shouldn't come back here. Okay.
Yeah, he had somebody throw a Bible into his car from a moving car.
First off, that's pretty impressive.
That is damn.
Fucking damn.
And then
did you have a bad bumper sticker?
Oh, I had two of them. Yeah.
In all honesty, he was probably trying to hit your car and then missed and got it into the car. So.
Oh, you're a bit choppy.
But
we went freeze for a second there.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
But I had two bumper stickers. I had Good Without God, and then American Atheist. I think on my car. You know,
you might as well had a foghorn and screamed at them, "I hate God." Then.
Yeah, it's Deep East Texas, you know, and then they threw the hardcover Bible at me in my car, and then they said, "God bless you" to me.
Really?
And then they drove off, and I was trying to catch back up with them because I was like holding this Bible, and I'd be like, "Hey, you dropped this." They were like zooming in on traffic. I was like, "Oh, why are you gonna do that? Now you're scared. You're supposed to be scared of Jesus? Is that a thing?"
I would have been like, "Hey, I have toilet paper, thank you."
That happened. I had a guy. There's a video actually where when I went up to Hawkins the first time, and I spoke to the city council there, and he's about orange size, I guess, and he's like in overalls but no shirt underneath, and about this sign that we were like, just fucking move it, just take it away, put a different sign there. Oh, I'm sorry, one already exists a mile down the road.
There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, that already say "Welcome to Hawkins," you idiots. And this guy he said, "We don't like northern aggression." And I was like, I live in Texas. And he was staring straight at me. And he even said, well, we should put 20-foot blinking signs on both sides of town. And I said, private property. And then he said, and if you're going to try to take our sign, I said, come and take it. Which is a fucking threat.
Yeah.
It's literally the Texas versus like Mexico. Yeah. They stole Mexico's cannon. And which I guess these people stole taxpayer money to build a sign to put on taxpayer paid property, which I guess makes sense. And you know what? The fucking sign's gone now. And their reasoning is great. Wait, oh man, I cannot wait to go into that. It is that story is, again, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was part of this. I'm just and I had people literally, we've had people write us messages and stuff, tell us to our face, that you probably shouldn't come back because we don't want to do anything illegal. And I'm like, or you could just not.
Yeah, it's like that's not hard to not do something illegal.
Yeah, all over things like when they like down in Port Neches, Texas, they had a big white Christian, like cross Christian, of course Christian cross. It could be ugly, and it was in a park. And
Oh yeah.
I've got video of these people too. It's great. And they're why are people always so obsessed if I don't live in the town? Turns out I live in the country, and if I have to go, if I
lost you.
I go into
there you go.
again.
You're back.
But it's really, really odd. I don't know if my processor I don't know. I can.
Or the internet just sucks.
Maybe.
Don't worry. I'll just scream at you when you go silent, and then you can just repeat.
Nice.
We'll be fine.
But we actually went and because we were saying to them, we don't care about your cross. You want to have a symbol, and they said we're going to put little white crosses on every yard in Port Neches. And I said, look, if you want your front yards to look like a graveyard, I don't care. Okay, they even had like the Little White Cross Project or whatever it was called. And I was like, cool, that's not the point. And so we actually took them, like we made them notes which said, hey, we love you guys and everything like that. This isn't about you. This is just like the Constitution, right? We don't want anybody to have anything here. And we brought them like juice and cookies and stuff. And they not only did they not take any of them, they tore the notes in half, burned them. Yeah, we have photos of this stuff. Yeah, and I was like, well, more cookies for me. Bye. And
awfully Christian of them, huh?
Yeah, and the mayor was like, we're not gonna. This is tyranny, and I'm like, so the Constitution's tyranny. I appreciate you saying that. It's like, and then guess what? Again, it's that cross is no longer on public property. It's like, look, man, it's not difficult, but they are. It's
a lot of Christians you find like that. They're especially, to use a fucking silly paraphrase, it's not very Christian. Like, it boils down to the tribalism because their tribe is the strongest and biggest and all the rest of it. That must be the way it must be. You usually find that more people under the umbrella term is who acts Christian, like the nice and the good and all that. You find that from the secular side, and they are so far behind and silly that they don't realize that a secular nation would actually be better for everybody rather than a theocracy. It's
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, especially because which type of theocracy are you looking for?
Yeah.
Because I know a ton of evangelicals, and they're no fans of the Catholics, who they say aren't even Christians.
Yeah, I've met so many Americans that have that opinion, which is insane. Because if you actually got rid of,
I was raised Catholic, so
if you took the Catholics out of what is the statistics of what is a Christian, the Protestants, what's left is Muslims, and it then becomes the majority religion in the world. So it's a catch-22. You ignore them whenever you're talking dogma, but you consider them in statistics. It's
it's over 1 billion Christians are Catholic. I think it's like the vast majority of,
and that's not surprising considering the Inquisition.
Yeah. And where everything,
I'm in Ireland,
everything started.
We have the proper Catholics here.
But so if the evangelicals end up winning, which not again.
Oh no.
I know. Here, let me hold this.
Yes.
There we go.
I got it.
No, you're back. You're back. There
we go.
1 second.
I'm technically punched.
Susan has too many porn.
Yay!
Susan has too many porn tabs open. Close all the porn tabs.
I do. I really do. That's my problem.
It's probably true.
It takes up so much process.
But
It really does.
so if the evangelicals take the wedge document, which they're doing very well, which is why American evangelicals on the right are so like laser focused on abortion. Thank you, wedge document. Also, fuck you, patriarchal dicks. Evangelicals will win, which is what they've basically done. I mean, come on. Remember, JFK became president, and they were like, "Can he be a good president if he's Catholic?"
Right.
but they have now, if they get their little theocracy, you're not going to like the Catholics. What are you going to do? You're going to tell the Catholics that they're going to, have the same rights as atheists? Because I'm pretty certain they got the same Jesus, and kind of, and
for the most part.
What if the Catholics are the ones that take control in this theocracy? We've seen what Catholics have done in history.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like in their thought processes. Whenever I go in and I make like these hyperbolic comments.
Just on the topic of the Catholics, did you see what the Pope came out and said there? Was it the other day or last week? I think I seen it in Nerdy. If you want to post a link to it, you're a mod, you can pop it in the chat. The Pope came out and said you don't need to believe to go to heaven or something like that.
Yeah, he said that, like you said, like last year, I thought. You don't have to, you don't have to.
He reiterated it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I believe that. They also accept evolutionary theory.
Yes.
Which is really weird because that means Adam and Eve didn't exist, but whatever.
We discussed that the other day, too.
Yeah, it is. My brain cannot wrap my head around this thing, but whatever. Hey, as long as you accept evolution, I don't care. Rationalize it however you want. And they lost it. I don't know what I was saying.
Sorry, that was my fault. We were talking about Catholics. We were talking about them bad Catholics and the theocracy.
Yeah, the history of like Catholicism, right, is like rife with this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And what would the evangelicals be able to do at that point then? It's like whenever I go and make those hyperbolic comments, whenever they're like, we're going to defend our cross on a courthouse, right?
Or 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
like
I go in there and I write things in all caps with a ton of exclamation points, which I think makes it obvious that I'm not serious.
Not always.
And like I'm not the president. I don't do this unironically. And I'm like, yeah, if people don't like this cross, they can go somewhere else. They can go to a country that has freedom of religion. And people like my comments.
Yeah.
Like these people who make these posts like my comment. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Again, man, making a reference to Northern Ireland, right? It's a UK, it's part of the United Kingdom. So the flag of this country technically is the Union flag, the red, white and blue and all the rest of it. And in Belfast City Hall, the Union flag flew for as many years as possible. Now, this has happened a few years back. And the flag's flown there for as long as possible. And then people started to complain because they wanted, we have both Catholic and Protestant in charge of the country and this, that and the other. So they took the flag down and everybody went fucking apeshit. For months they had petitions out the front of City Hall where they'd even got Eddie from Iron Maiden on a giant flag holding the Union Jack and everything. It's every single Sunday for fucking weeks. It's a massive big thing over here because you touched my flag. Don't touch my flag. And it's not even a flag. It's spelt flag, but the way they say it over here is like, my flag. Leave me flag alone. Don't get touching me flag.
I don't understand that. Like, I don't... Like,
you're not
really
a say the word flag.
Thank you.
I know you don't understand.
Oh, thanks, babe. Thank you.
But it's the connotation of having something like that taken down. The same as the crosses in the graveyard. The same as the crosses in their garden. If they don't get this symbol, if they don't get this thing to come and beat you over the head and scream and shout, like, okay, you have a bumper sticker, but you don't have a giant sign in your garden that says I'm an atheist. Everybody is allowed their expression. You're allowed to express how you feel and you're allowed to express your thoughts, but pushing it down people's throat is a completely different thing. And
yeah.
If you take away their small little symbolism, then they're not them anymore. You've taken it away. I'm not the same. No, you are. Shut up.
Right. Yeah. It's like, are you that insecure of who you are as a person that you need to have these symbols and this like why do you need it so much if you know who you are?
Well, there are some of them who would then have no excuse for their bigotry. Thankfully, not all Christians are bigoted. And again, thankfully, not all atheists are. But without the Bible, those of them that are bigoted wouldn't have an excuse.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
It's a shirking of responsibility. Again, just moving it up the chain, which is... I find that very, very stupid and silly as well, because you want to be responsible for yourself. You know, you need to be responsible for your own actions, for your own beliefs, and it's a scapegoat for anybody, even religion or anything like that, to say, oh, such and such told me to do it, or such and such did this, or the Bible says this. Take responsibility for your actions. If you're a fucking racist, be a racist. We can pick on you. Admit it. Don't say that it says this in the Bible and find an excuse. Just, you know, be who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I really enjoy Tippy Bear in your comment section. I do not know if this person is speaking seriously.
I have never seen them before. Welcome here, Tippy Bear. Nice to see you.
It warmed my heart. I don't have.
Was that the one who said we were baby killers earlier?
Yeah, I don't. If that person's a troll, we don't have anybody like that. So feel free to come to Divine Disbelief and troll us.
Oh, brilliant. I didn't see that comment earlier. I thought they were having a lively discussion. I've just been focusing on you, but brilliant. It's nice to have a troll.
The one that said,
It's nice to have a troll. Who says that?
You know you've made it. You know you've made it when you've got a troll.
Yeah.
Right.
So she said, thank the Catholics for freedom of religion. Yeah, that was when they were murdering 1 million indigenous peoples, right? And also find me 3 Catholics amongst those who wrote the Constitution or signed it.
Apparently, Tippy is serious.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Welcome.
Yeah.
Well,
and we're the hateful ones, right?
I hate to do this. I have to get back to work. Y'all continue your thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but I have to go work.
We will
Susan,
be
I
here.
will see you on Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna be
excited.
asleep.
Yeah,
He will be
everybody come join us on Atheist Pastor's channel on Friday for 6 o'clock because Susan is coming on.
I am. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm going to be in bed. It's 4:30 in the morning for me.
Which is probably when you'll be going to bed.
It's very, no, it'll be like 3:30.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
would you
Susan,
mind
just to
stopping
say
the
thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. And if Nathaniel, excuse me, if you're up for it, we'll have a wee after party. It can go for a while, so we might see you back, Susan. We might.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, if it's more than an hour, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's gonna stand up
Yeah.
and stuff.
I'm gonna like move my chair and shit.
She's not wearing pants.
I'm wearing leggings. Wearing leggings.
I'm not wearing pants.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule the after party. And did we? Oh yeah, they've just went camera. No camera because no pants. So Nathaniel, if you want to shout and let everyone know who you are while I schedule a wee after party.
Sure. She's going to the back of the ship. There she goes. Getting the hold of the blasters. Yeah.
Move, Stanley.
Blasters are on top of the Falcon. I found that out the other day.
Because you were looking at the pop of the morning.
Yeah, the pop is enormous. So, she got a new R2D2 one this morning.
I did, and a few other ones.
Oh yeah, the R2 one though was released without anybody. No, I'm definitely not in on the shares. Oh well. No, yeah, we are Divine Disbelief, our channel. We usually live stream every Wednesday evening at 5:30 Pacific time, going over again secular news and opinion, deep dive. We have a time where we can get in here and rant, and so we do that sometimes. I rant more about atheists than anything, we do like book recommendations, channel recommendations. I don't know that we've actually recommended your channel yet. So gonna have to do that. It's only like one per week, so
anything helps. Anything helps.
Yeah, and definitely and make sure that we do that in the future. I know we've spoken about it as well. We have a list of them, and we actually make more of a living coming on awesome channels like yours than doing anything on our own.
Yeah, I see you more on other channels than I do in your own. That is true.
That's like me. I spend more time on MathPig's channel than I do my own. So
Tabioka in the chat earlier asked for something that you were talking about, the biblical references and stuff, and asked for a video on your channel. And I was just thinking that probably the one that I've seen's best is maybe on Knox's channel or someone else's channel that you've discussed about that particular topic. Yeah.
If it's biblical history and stuff like that. Naksuchi's channel, we talked about it like around Easter. Spoke the history of Jesus. I spoke about that was 2 weeks ago on our channel. But I also have like a lot of stuff that that I personally go into, like on Discord servers and stuff like that. So I was in yours for a little bit, MathPig. I'll have to come back because it's just squeaky one.
Oh, sorry.
No, babe, you're doing work.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a break from like most of them.
Yeah.
And that was intentional. So I'll certainly have to come back.
Oh yeah, well mine's just a hangout anyway. We don't really do any debates or anything. But if you're interested in debating online, I have at least 5 or 6 debate servers that I'm part of. At least 2 of them are run by Christians. So I could definitely send you them your way, and you can have a lot of fun in there.
No, people usually challenge me, so I'm not a debatey bro. I think people.
Me either.
Yeah, people want to, I don't know. But then when I don't want to debate, I get called things that are inappropriate for.
Pussy.
I do get called that, and I've been called a bigot as well.
Which is strange.
Me today.
Today.
Me.
Really?
I am like of all the people to be a bigot, me. I'm the one you chose. I got a list of people. Come on, and but do have actually a debate not coming up. It's the one that's scheduled. We're going to be in a church in North Carolina, by the way, babes. I think I mentioned that to you.
Yes.
And it's with myself and Dean Meadows. We're going to be discussing if the apostles and the early apostles and the disciples died for their faith, if they were martyred and murdered for the Jesus.
Do you know, I had that guy I mentioned with you earlier who was a young earth creationist. We had a discussion on that one time, and I think it was Paul Agea's channel. Now, he's not a big YouTuber, but I went to Paul Agea's channel and watched a video on it, and he suggested a book, and I think it was chapter 4. That's as far as I had to read by this book written by a Christian before. It was called The Fate of the Apostles. And I got as far as chapter 4, and I found exactly what I needed. I didn't even have to read the whole book. And again, written by a Christian. So,
also recommend Candida Moss's book. She's a professor. She was at Notre Dame, and then she was at Duke. It's called The Myth of Persecution, and she's Roman Catholic. So she's a Christian as well. And if anybody is going to know anything about the history of the church and the persecution or so-called persecution of the church, it's gonna be a Catholic. So and her writings are
definitely
amazing.
put you up against S.J. Thompson sometime, man. That would be a lot of fun. You against S.J. on that topic.
I don't debate dishonest people.
Fair play. Yeah, no, I will definitely give you that. She said she would come on here and I can show you the email exchange. She said yes. I sent her the link to my channel, and then she came back and says, I can't do Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was like, well, that's the days I stream. I was like, can you do a Sunday? And she's like, yes, I can do a Sunday. So I give her a date, and she was like, no, can't do that Sunday. I can do this one. I was like, right, we do it at this time. She was like, no, can't do it at that time. It's just, as you say, completely dishonest.
Yeah. And beyond, I mean, there's obviously, and as Mom, I can tell you, there beyond that, even there's just an incredible amount of dishonesty in that. To me, it's a Richard Carrier level of dishonesty.
Yeah.
So, and I don't, that's pretty high. It's a lot. So,
Right?
Way. See, I am an equal opportunity.
I noticed that. Well, that's what you will find over here. We will criticize both people. We will not just stand behind them for a one-issue voter.
Oh yeah, and I've been the subject of criticism for good reason sometimes, and have taken it in stride as best I can, and I've changed viewpoints. And opinions recently even, and I have video evidence of this, so it's not the easiest thing to do, but it probably is the most important.
No,
and
that's it. Yeah. Be open to change.
And so I'm still obviously an instigator. Susan lets me do it. I don't know why.
Well, on that note, we will bounce over to the after party, give everyone a chance to go to the toilet and get their drinks and all the rest of it, and we shall be back in about 10 minutes. I always say thank you very much for the chat to watching, because if you didn't come and watch, we wouldn't have anything here, and for Divine Disbelief to give me their time. As I say, Susan popped off from work, so Very much appreciated. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you for having us. It really means the most to us. And obviously, Susan's going to be on Friday morning with there, right there, and that's going to be great. She's so awesome, and I would rather see her right here than myself because she's more likable than I am. So it's not a difficult bar to overcome.
Prettier too.
You're
Oh my God!
This six pack this week's fully women powered, so it's going to be a lot of man hating this week. You'd be glad you're sleeping, man. Be glad you're sleeping.
Man hating, we're just woman loving.
Well,
Fair
on
enough.
that note, we will bounce over to the after party. Everybody, thanks for coming, and we will oink and out.